Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Diaz,
And I'm Chris.
and we're keeping you in the loop of the guitar community. This episode's brought to you by Stringjoy. Sound better, play better. Go check out stringjoy.com. They've got awesome sets of strings. You can change up the sets. You can 8s, 8.5s, 9s, 9.5s, whatever you want. They'll do it for you. Mix and match, pick whatever strings you want. And they've also got subscription services. They've got other cool stuff. I love their microfiber cloths. It's great. And they've also got string cleaner. They've got awesome hats. I love my Stringjoy hat. That's one of my favorites to wear out. And they've got koozies. If you like drinking from a can, it's the greatest koozie ever.
I'm doing a lot more LaCroix. I need to get me a koozie this week.
No one needs LaCroix, so let's not do that.
Well, hopefully we'll never get a sponsor from Sinusoid. Then we might have to start drinking.
No, not happening. Not doing LaCroix. Sorry, I tried it once and I spit the thing out. They're like, oh no, it's lemon. No, it tastes like it was canned in a room where someone was cutting a lemon 300 yards away. It's a big room. There's no lemon in there. All right, so check out Stringjoy. Tell them the Effects Loop sent you, because it helps them know that they're doing a great thing by sponsoring us. Let's see, Chris, what's new with you?
I traded in some pedals that I weren't using. Wow, English that I was not using.
I weren't using it. So,
weren't using them.
Weren't using them. You can take the boy out of Tennessee, but you can't take the Tennessee out of the boy.
Apparently. But I took it and I traded them in for a Strymon Dig. But of course, the place I took it to sold their Dig they had in stock. So now I'm waiting on them to get their next order in from Strymon.
Okay.
And yeah, I think I got like $295 for everything out of the $330. So I only owe like $30 total.
Nice.
So that's not bad at all.
Now, you've been itching for a Dig again. That's like your favorite delay pedal.
Yeah, like they actually had the the Fender reflecting pool, I think is the reverb and delay.
Yeah.
So I was like sitting there like while he was ringing everything up, I was like, do I want to try this and take the chance of liking it and like just completely forgetting the Dig? But then I just decided to not even play it and just go ahead and get the thing.
So on the Dig, it's a dual delay. Is it like dual all the time, or is it two independents and you hit them together, or?
It can go either way. So the secondary features, how did I set up a single delay last time? I think I turned off the secondary delay or the primary delay and just had the other one going. Because I think
it's got a fave switch, right?
Yes. So I was able to have like my dual delay and then the single. If I remember right, I'm pretty sure I had the primary delay just completely off because I don't think you can set subdivisions for that. It's the secondary that you can do the subdivisions on.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's what I thought too at first, but then it was like, you know what, it I guess kind of makes sense because not everybody needs to have the subdivisions, and maybe most people like to have the quarter easily editable versus the dotted eighth.
Yeah, I like the dotted eighth. That's like the best delay out there.
Mm-hmm. And I'm also actually ordering a koozie from Stringjoy as we speak. So
there you go.
What else is new with you while I finish this up?
Not really a whole lot. I'm selling gear. I'm kind of just in a weird spot, but I've been selling stuff. Also looking for another job, so that's always fun. But luckily, one of the great things about having gear is when you are in need, you can sell it. So I'm in the fun spot of where I'm having to sell stuff instead of buying.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone wants to buy a Kali 76, the TXL, hit me up. I'll cut you a deal, like $800. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with me right now. I traded off my Alter Ego X4 to Andrew. I think I talked about it last week. So he's got that, and we're working on, he's going to get me a DD5 ship back a Keeley modded one. So, or no, Analog Man modded one. So I'm pretty excited about that. But
Very
that's about
nice.
it. Let's see. We've done gear news like so hardcore for the past few weeks because of NAM. We don't have that much this week, and that's actually pretty nice. So let's talk about the first thing. So Shure has the KSE 1500 electrostatic earphones. Are they the future? I don't know. I mean, they're out now, so I don't know if it's the future. It's the present.
Probably not, but I guess this is one of those things that if you really, really have to have like hi-fi audio for your in-ears, I think is that how this article labeled it? Was the future of in-ears? Yes.
Well, so these have been out for a few years, but the thing is that they're kind of making a resurgence because they're electrostatic earphones, which I don't really know what that is, but it's got electrostatic transducers in it, which are nothing new. It's been that whole electrostatic principle has been applied to loudspeakers and headphones since the 50s. Oh, pardon me. But they have advantages, which are incredible transient response, bandwidth, and transparency. Let's see. So they use a very low mass electrostatically charged diaphragm instead of a cone attached to a moving coil. But let's see. It seems like Shure's the first people to put it out. It's an expensive
I
technology
think so.
to manufacture and implement, though. So far, it's largely been targeted at the high-end hi-fi community and pretentious audiophiles. However, we can see a potential shift in Shure's marketing towards this. So it seems like this was something for people who are all about it, all about that high-end audiophile stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those people like the rock doctors and the blues lawyers, as they like to be called. But
Whereas the rest of us were just like, meh.
the thing is, the full price of that system, $3,000.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. It just, I don't know. It'd be one of those that would be like fun to actually try one day just
Yeah.
to see.
It's
But
one of those like I want to hear them at NAM just to see, but I don't know. Well, I just saw this next thing. Why don't you tell us about this next thing? This has Chris written all over it.
Chapman Guitars are introducing the ML2 Tolman Special Edition. They're I guess the LP Junior-esque guitars. As far as I'm concerned, the biggest reason I picked these were they're probably one of the more normal looking Chapman guitars that I've seen lately. So they seem pretty cool. I think there's 3 models. 2. One's a teal, which looks pretty cool. It's got a nice little binding on the side of it. Then a deep cherry is what they call it, with a humbucker instead of a P90. So they kind of lost me there on that one.
I like this one. I do like the traditional, the T. That looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like it without the pick guard. There's one in the picture.
Yeah, in the video.
Or in the video, yeah, that has it without the pick guard. I like that.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's one of the normal models, but it wasn't mentioned in what we saw. So I'm going to just assume that it's not.
It looks like it's been digitally edited. They took the pick guard off.
That's a fair statement.
That's what I would say. That's 100% what it looks like.
But yeah, have you ever played any of the Chapman stuff? I've not been able to actually pick one up because I've never. Oh wait, I've seen one. It was just in a very small shop where I just didn't want to touch anything.
Yeah, I played one before. They feel. I mean, they've got that they're made in the same factory as I think Reverend and everything, and they've all got that same kind of feel. I didn't really have anything negative to say about it, but when I played one was when they were all like shredder guitars before they started doing a lot of traditional style stuff. But I do like these, and I I say it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I just clicked on Chapman's site and they've got some more modern or more traditional stuff than last time I've been on here. So still a lot of flame and yeah, a whole lot of flame tops.
Yeah, flame tops are the best tops. All right, let's get moving on to the next. I'm just tearing through it today.
Works for me.
Magnetic Effects Dual Drive puts 2 legendary drive tones in 1 boutique pedal. So it's a rat and a tube screamer, and which is a really good combo.
It
And
really is.
I haven't seen a whole lot of rat tube screamer combos, except for stuff where people do like one-off things. And this is really cool because it looks like it's your typical single pedal enclosure for the most part, maybe a little bit bigger.
No, it'd be about the same size as like one of the Matthews effects because it's
What
the
is it?
same knobs.
What is it? The 1590B or whatever they call them.
Sure,
Yeah.
we'll go with that.
How much is 135 GBP? Great price. A great. I don't even know what GBP stands for. Is that German?
I think it's British pounds. But
175 US dollars. Yeah, it's pounds sterling. Ooh.
what's non-sterling pounds?
Why don't we?
go
We should just do
for?
an episode where we quiz each other on price conversions.
And see how close we get.
How many yen is $48? I don't know. 48,000.
20 million probably.
20 million yen, 78 pesos, or whatever. I don't know. We'll have to work on that. But this is, I like it. It's really simple. It looks great, and it's, they're 2 standalone drives. So you've got the Proco Rat style, and then the, Ibanez Max and 2 Screamer, and I'm pretty sure you can run them in series as well. I need to find out that answer before I say it. But it does have a really great look to it. Just very simple. And from what I heard, it sounds good. Did you get a chance to listen to it?
I did, and it actually did sound pretty good. It actually like stood out to me, whereas every other drive that I feel like we've listened to or talked about, like while it's been cool in some ways, it's just been like, well, yeah, that's a rat, yeah, it's a tube screamer, but I don't know if it's just this combo. The fact that you can get both in it actually stands out to me.
Yeah, I think it looks, and you can run it at 9 to 18 volts, which is really cool. Because I'd love to run a rat at 18 volts, get a little bit more headroom.
Yep.
But let's see, the clipping mode on the rat style is asymmetrical clipping.
Do you have a preference?
I really don't know, but there's someone out there that's like asymmetrical. Hell yeah! So it's
Or
supposed
how
to give
dare
you more
do asymmetrical.
It's supposed to for more even order harmonics and less compression. I don't know about that. I love me some compression on drives. It's one of my favorite things. It's one of my reasons why I absolutely love the Prince of Tone.
Oh, that's probably why the other drive is a tube screamer.
Probably no compression there. It's got that mid hump, boop boop. So that looks really cool. But I figure let's just move on to the topic. It's only been 13 minutes. Dang it, Chris. Let's slow down.
Today's probably going to be a short episode.
Today is going to be a short episode. I don't feel that well either.
Yep, you're sick. We've got an appointment to get to.
Yeah, everyone's sick. Welcome to the world of dying. That's what everyone's doing.
The world needs a new plague.
I've been chanting that for a long time. After working in the food
Dwight.
industry for over a decade. Yeah. Let's see. So Josh Klinghoffer was the guitar player for the past 10 years in Red Hot Chili Peppers. He replaced John Frusciante whenever he left, which this is the second time John has left, and both times he's been replaced by phenomenal guitar players. But so we've got some good and bad news. Good news, John's coming back to the band. If people don't realize how much John added to the sound of the Chili Peppers, just really listen after Stadium Arcadium and just see where Josh picked in, and just see where he picked in and listen to the albums, and you see that they did 3 albums with Josh. I think it was 3 or it was 2. I think it was 3 albums, 2 tours, which is not a whole lot for 10 years. A lot of the guys kind of slowed down. I mean, they're getting older. Josh was kind of the young guy in the group. And here's what we're kind of talking about on, it's kind of like 2 ideas I had for the topic. First off, when you go into a band and you're replacing someone, it's really hard. Especially, like, the Chili Peppers aren't just some, like, garage band. They're a stadium-selling band. I mean, everyone's heard a Chili Pepper song. Everyone has to have at least one Chili Pepper song that you enjoy. But it's just, there's got to be one. I'll find one that you will enjoy. One of my favorites, I have a weird one that's actually my favorite, and that's Sickamicanico, which is on the Wayne's World soundtrack. Okay. And it wasn't, I don't even know if it made it to one of their albums. If it did, I missed it. But and I'm not a huge Chili Peppers fan. I do enjoy a lot of their hits, some of their odd stuff, but it's really kind of crazy how many times John's kind of left and come back. But the thing is John set the groundwork, and they I mean, the Chili Peppers kind of created their own category, like,
for sure,
funk punk, pretty much.
I agree with that.
I mean, they really just kind of took some of these cool things, this funky music, and added this kind of rock style and this punk thing going on. And whenever you're a band that creates your own genre for the most part, like Primus, stuff like that, when you get rid of one of the archetypes of that, it's noticeable. Dave Navarro took over whenever John left the first time, and he tried to fill in, and he did all this, and then he ended up leaving, John coming back, and that was great. John came back. They did Stadium Arcadium, which was a huge album. Kind of, I don't know, I'd say it's not late in their career, but not a lot of bands, after being a band for over 10 years, come out with an album as impactful as that, in my opinion. But it's one of those, as I'm getting older and I'm looking at these bands that I listened to that were around before I was, actually listening to music, or before I was even born. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was, at what point do you have a new band? And that's kind of an interesting thing too. I've been reading about, let's see, other bands I've been doing. Fleetwood Mac. Lindsey Buckingham was the guitar player on, starting with, I think, Rumors was the first album. But that was the album that really exploded them into stardom. Fleetwood Mac was a band before that, and I can't remember the guitar player who was in Fleetwood Mac before. Oh my gosh, before Lindsey Buckingham. But it's just, I'm trying to look it up really quick. Peter Green, that's who it was. And now they're talking Lindsey Buckingham won't be back in Fleetwood Mac, and they're touring. And there's also, someone said they saw Foreigner, and almost no one in the band is an original member. At what point are we just still using the name and moving forward? And at what point do we just change it? Because then look at bands like Audioslave was a prime example. They got a new singer. The entire band pretty much is Rage Against the Machine, just with a different singer, but they use a different name and all that. I just think it's kind of interesting to see that. And what do you think about swapping out members and all that, and at what point do you just change the band?
See, one of the biggest things for me, I feel like, would probably be lead singer. Like, if you're like kicking out the lead singer, or the lead singer leaves, like, maybe eventually you might want to consider rebranding yourself, just because, like, in a way that is almost like, especially if it's the front man, like, it's the face and name of the band, or if it's named after the guy.
Well, if it's named after the guy, for sure.
Yeah.
But and then there's those weird things like Van Halen's changed lead singers, but they're still Van Halen, but that's the Van Halen brothers are still in there.
Yeah.
AC/DC, they changed singers because one passed away, but now AC/DC is touring with
Axl Rose, if I
that's it.
remember right.
But they're still AC/DC. And I think the only, I don't know if Cliff Burton, the original bass player, is back touring with them, but I think at one point Cliff was out. I mean, Malcolm passed away. Phil Rudd isn't in the band anymore. I think at some point it's just like all you've got's Angus yet left, and is Angus AC/DC. I mean, he's the face.
That's an almost an arguable point of that between him and Johnson. What's his name?
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson. Like between the two of them, I like when you see like something of Angus, that makes you think AC/DC. If you see anything of Brian Johnson, you're like, who's this guy? Oh, that's the singer. Oh, okay.
What if the Edge left you too? What if they got a replacement for you?
See, that would suck for me and probably most people, but I feel like it's something that could potentially be replaced. No one would want to see it, but it's more replaceable than Bono. Because if you get somebody else in a live concert situation that's spitting like political messages and stuff, like, are you doing this because you actually stand behind this, or are you doing it because you're trying to replicate Bono?
That's true. You've got, I don't know. I feel like you two could just be like, go to any church, grab their guitar player. We've got this.
That's almost where I was going for. It's like you could almost replace the Edge with any church guitarist, but it might not sound the exact same. Like you might get the diehard fan that would be like, oh, he's not hitting this 1/16th note in this one song, and it just completely ruined it.
Well, the Edge would probably take all of his gear with him.
Probably.
Because that's one
somebody
of the big
would be
things
like,
with
he's
the Edge.
using a 65 Vox instead of a 64. It doesn't sound the same.
He's using an AC-15, not an AC-30. What the heck?
or since it's church guitar, he's using an AC4.
Oh my gosh. He's got a Kemper. Are you serious?
Actually, funny story. I think for a while the Edge's touring rig was actually like two. It's not the Kemper, it's the Axe Effects, and then his little signature Fender amp that they gave him.
Didn't he? I thought at one point he used a lot of Marshall Rack stuff.
I think that was in the Vertigo tour era. So you have like those and the pod, like the old Line 6 pods. Yes, like the kidney bean rack stuff.
Nice. I think
I
it's so
remember
funny.
at one point I wanted those because of that, and it's like
Then
I
you
think I
got
can
it,
get
and
them.
you're like, no.
Well, no, I never had one of those. It would kind of be interesting just to still pick one of those up off of Reverb because they're probably super cheap.
As played by artists like The Edge.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, probably. And there's probably some guy that has one listed like that Line 6 pod rack. It's at the Pod Pros. Let's see. Yep, I could pick one up for $133 right now if I wanted to. Or $75. There we go. We'll get that. We'll try it. We'll come back with a review. But yeah, so like numbers like that, I feel like it can be rotated in a little more. I guess it just depends on like what is like who is the face of the band.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago. I think it was Foghat played a
Wait, Foghat's still a band?
ish. I think the only original member was literally the drummer, and everybody else was some younger, like 30-year-old.
I think it's one of those things too. If it's one of those bands where they just rotate. Okay. Man, my brain is foggy today. Leonard Skinner is one. Let's see. Blackfoot is a southern rock band that seems to have gone through 5 million members. Let's see. Oh my gosh. If you have a past member section on Wikipedia, oh my gosh. All right, let's see. I'm going to count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 40, 45. 45 past members, 5 current. The longest
anybody
running,
original?
No, the longest running person is lead guitar and backup vocals Tim Rossi, started in 2012. That's insane.
So the longest person was only Replay. How long has this band been a band?
Since 69.
So less than 10 years ago
Yeah.
is the longest member.
They had a good, where was he at?
Is this why I haven't heard of them? Possibly.
They did that. I forgot what song was really big by them, but
What band was this?
Blackfoot. Yeah.
Southern Native Highway Song.
Yeah.
None of this sounds familiar.
It's kind of crazy. So I don't know. I just think it's completely. It's kind of crazy because people just hold on to those band names and just suck off the teat of the people who came before them. But I find it kind of interesting. I'm really excited that John is back in Red Hot Chili Peppers because he's a phenomenal guitar player. The last time he left, I think heroin related. Not the last time, but the first time he left. And then
I got it pulled up, I think. Yep, first time it says just drug addiction. I don't know.
Oh, it was heroin. He sold like a bunch of his like nice guitars and everything. When he came back to the band, the Strat, if I remember correctly, the Strat that he uses all the time, the one that's beat the crud, I think it's a 59, was given to him by the lead singer Anthony Kiedis, and that was kind of because he didn't have a guitar to come back into the band.
Wow.
Like that's our 62 Strat. Sorry, I don't know where I got 59. But yeah, it was purchased by Anthony Kiedis when Frusciante joined the Red Hot Chili Peppers again. Because he had sold everything. So he came back in 98 and then left in 2010. Or 2009, 2010. Anthony put in the book Scar Tissue. The major problem was John didn't even have a guitar to his name. So he went over to Guitar Center and bought him a great old 62 Strat. And let's see. So yeah, he did have a guitar from what I understand. He had a Fender Jag and he bought that on Sunset Strip in 97, but whenever he came back to the band, he really needed a Strat.
I can see that.
Especially for that band. I mean, you can't do... I mean, come on. You got to have that Strat sound. Especially that, like, funky... Sorry. You know what song I'm doing. All around the world. It's all around the world.
I'll probably recognize it when I hear it, but... Okay, so I think one of the biggest ones that we could probably talk about is Journey of replacing Steve Perry.
Oh, that was that was a real tough. That's a tough person to replace, especially whenever they've got an iconic voice. No one has. I mean,
I feel like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I'm pretty sure all the other members except for I think the drummer are original. I think that the drummer had legal issues, something like that.
It's looking like it. I don't reckon. Oh, the lead guitar might be the only guy. Neil Schon. Neil Schon.
Yeah, no, the piano player too. Jonathan
Kane.
Jonathan Kane. That's it.
Oh yeah, on all Journey releases from 81, from 79. Yeah. And Arnell came in 2008.
There was another guy before him too that sang with the band, and it just did not work out. They said. I've watched the documentary on the whole Journey thing, and it's really interesting.
There's two. There's Steve, I can't even pronounce his last name, and Jeff Scott Soto.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh wait, Jeff Scott Soto would be the one that didn't work out. He was from 2006 to 2007.
Yeah. So, and the whole thing is too, it's really interesting because when John's not in the band, they really don't do albums, which is pretty funny. And they really don't have hits without him. The only song, let's see. So Dave Navarro was only on one album, and they had the song Aeroplane was a big hit with them, and that was a Dave Navarro song on there. But it's just kind of interesting that, you know, Josh said that there's something between John and Flea that's just magical. So he even said, like, you know, he was kind of upset to leave. He said if it would have been a few years ago, he would have been more upset. But, you know, he did 10 years. But, like, as a fan, he's really excited for John to be back in the band. I think that's the way I could understand it, too. Like, if I was, like, in a band, like, a prime example, Phil X is in Bon Jovi now instead of Richie Sambora. If I was Phil X and they kicked me out to bring Richie back, I would kind of be like, okay,
that's right. Fair.
Everything's right with the world again. Mm-hmm. But I find it kind of interesting that you've got so many bands that have just crazy lineup changes, which, I mean, I can understand. We've had lineup changes on this podcast and we're not even popular. So I was like, famous? No, we're not famous. Oh yeah, hell, we're not even popular. So, but I figured we'll have to figure that out. When will the effects loop die? You know what? We're gonna pull a Blackfoot. We're just gonna give the show to someone and be like, it's yours now. Yep. Take it. Run. No, run away from it. It's no.
Just run, be free.
Yeah, it's more than it needs to be. All right. Well, why don't, guys, if you have an opinion on this, join the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/The Effects Loop. Go in there, tell us what you think about it. You can also comment on Instagram, do whatever. But check us out on Instagram at The Effects Loop. I've got more free time on my hands right now, so I feel like I'm going to put a big push in that. And you can also find us on LinkedIn, which we actually are on LinkedIn right now. Thank you, Scott, for doing that. You can email us at theeffectsloop@gmail.com if you want to.
What skills should I go endorse for us on LinkedIn?
I have no idea. Do we have skills?
I'm about to go find out.
I can stand on one thumb. Look, I'm doing it right now. I'm standing on one thumb. But yeah, I'm trying to think. There's some. Oh, guys, Stringjoy. Stringjoy.com. Sound better, play better. Thank you for Stringjoy for sponsoring this episode. Go check them out. You won't be disappointed. If you're disappointed, then you need to just stop being a jerk. I'm just kidding. You won't be disappointed. They've got phenomenal strings. They've got phenomenal stuff. If you play bass, guitar, mandolin, I'm surprised they don't do piano strings yet. But they've got everything. And then, let's see. Oh, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/The Effects Loop. You can go in there, give us money. It's really great. Seeing as I'm unemployed right now. Just you can pay me my salary. I'll let you know what it is. You can go in there, pay me that bi-weekly. Will be great. But thanks for listening, guys. We'll check
y'all out during the week.
Yeah, we gonna check y'all out. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Dictionary, why is negativity always drawn out? Picture every visualized love. energized, lies together. We undefeated. A plan to make weathers, no gloves needed. When we weed into the mindset of achieving and believing in a community that remains happy. Then the actor, the world should be one. Hate and I.